Hi everyone, Jeff Smith back with you again, Mr. Blue Glove. This is the Coin Show episode number 34, part 2 of the 20th century U.S. coin typeset. Part 1 we left off with the dimes, so we're going to jump right back in it with quarters, and the first one of the 20th century is the Barber Quarter. The Barber Quarter debuted in 1892, the same year that the Barber dime and the Barber 50-cent piece debuted. And it ran until 1916. Now, on the first part of the 20th century coin show, part 1, we discussed trying to get the year 1900. So there's a little bit of a common theme with the coins. Sometimes 1900 was pretty expensive, so we went to other years. Sometimes the coins, of course, weren't made in 1900, so we went with the first year or the last year of that particular issue. And we're going to go with the 1900 date. And for a good example, you can expect to pay about $6. And for a fine example, $20. So that's 1900, $6 in good, $20 in fine. Next on the list is the Standing Liberty Quarter, which is this position right here. That debuted in 1916, took over directly from the Barber Quarter. And the values on those are pretty high, actually. That's a series that is gaining value very quickly and very recently. So we're going to go with the 1930 issue. That's $5 in very good condition. But this is one of those coins where you want to get the best example you can for what you can afford, because these coins, once they're worn, they're nowhere near as beautiful as they are in higher grades. Very fine, or even an extremely fine quarter for 1930 cost about $24, $25. If you can swing it, I highly suggest you do. If you can afford a higher grade, I suggest you get it, because I'll show you what a lower grade Standing Liberty Quarter looks like. This just pops out. So this is a good condition quarter. Look how worn that is. The details are just gone. This one is a 1926. The date is actually pretty strong down there. But I don't know if you can see this or not, but the head detail's gone. The shield, her clothing is just all gone. And this is a good condition quarter. Compare it to the picture of the actual details. And there you can see why you want to get a higher grade coin for this one. Look how flat that is. And this is the reverse. In a little better condition than the front, actually. But, I don't know if you can see up here, but the United States of America is all merging into the rim. There's so much wear. Oh, my lighting's going really funky there. So this is a coin I would highly suggest you get in an upper grade. Still a neat coin here, but just really a shadow of its glory. And we'll carry on with the next quarter, and that would be the Washington Quarter. You're probably very familiar with that. You use it in your pocket every day. The Washington Quarter came out in 1932. Now, this particular set here has 2 holes for the Washington Quarter. Just a standard Washington Quarter, and then a bicentennial quarter hole here. I've looked up online. The newer books have more positions for the Washington Quarter than that, and we talked about that a little bit in part 1. But let's just say, if you want to keep the theme going here, because this one's silver and this one's silver, if you want to keep the Washington Quarter silver, you would get a coin between 1932 and 1964. And really, if you go to a coin shop and pick one up, you're going to spend about $3 or $4 in pretty much any condition. Except an uncirculated one, a really brilliant example with lots of luster yet left to it. Those are around $20. So again, this one's not too important really. You want to spend just enough to get a really good example so it looks nice in your book. But $3 to $4 in even extremely fine condition, that's a pretty good deal. And if you want to step up your game and maybe try to make an uncirculated set, or extremely fine uncirculated set, that's about $22. And again, any year from 1932 to 1964. Now, the newer books may also have a spot, one for silver and then one for clad. Now, the clad Washington quarters are from 1965 to current because silver prices jumped so much in 1964 they had to switch to copper and nickel, take the silver content out of the quarters because they were worth more as melted down silver than they were as a 25-cent piece. So the clad Washington started in 65. If there's a hole in your new book for a clad and a silver, the clad, just pull something out of your pocket. Make it 1998 or prior, because that is the same design as the 1932 to 1964 quarter. They didn't change the design in 65, they just changed the composition. So every quarter minted from 1932 all the way up to 1998 has the exact same obverse and reverse. So for the clad quarter, 1965 to 1998, just pull one out of your pocket, make sure it looks nice and shiny, and put it in your folder. This hole right here, which undoubtedly the new quarter books will also have. I don't have an example here. I'll throw a picture up. But it's the bicentennial quarter from 1975/1976. There were no 1975 quarters minted. They were all labeled 1776 to 1976 in honor of our bicentennial that year. So there are no quarters dated 1975. And if you want to find a bicentennial quarter, they minted those in the billions. I'm sure if you go through your pocket change or go through a bankroll of quarters, you'll find a couple here and there. If not, again, go to a coin shop, pick up one, uncirculated, $2 or $3. Now, I do know that the new books have a slot for the state quarter program. And that started in 1999 and really continues until this day because they went through the state quarters, then they went through the territory quarters, now they've gone through the America the Beautiful State Parks quarters. So the new coin books will have, well, at least the 20th century coin book will have a spot for a representative of the 1999 state quarter program. So you can probably still go through your pocket change and pull out a 1999. Georgia, Rhode Island, Delaware, the first 5 states were featured in 1999. Find one of those and put it in the book. Or if you want to go to a coin shop and find an uncirculated, really nice, pristine example, that'll set you back probably $2. Okay, so wrapping up the quarter section. If you went with the lowest valued coin in each of the quarter series, the Barber, Standing Liberty, Washington Silver, Washington Clad, Washington Bicentennial, Washington State Quarter, between finding good condition coins or pulling them out of circulation, you're going to spend about $15 for the quarters. Now, if you want to go to a coin shop and get extremely fine examples and uncirculated examples, you're going to spend $72. Okay, up next are the half dollars. The first half dollar of the 20th century was the Barber half. Again, that was issued in the same time period as the Barber dime and Barber quarter, 1892 to 1915. So keeping with our 1900 theme for our Whitman book here, a 1900 Barber half in very good condition, $11. And in fine condition is $42 for 1900. Now, this series A is not very popular. B circulated a heck of a lot. A 50-cent piece back in the turn of the century was a good chunk of money. They were used in everyday commerce. And this is one of those series that has a conditional rarity. Once you get past fine, the values go way, way up into the hundreds of dollars and even thousands of dollars for more uncirculated examples. So getting a 1900 and very good at $11 is probably the way to go. If you can't afford the fine or higher examples, go for it. I would probably stick with fine at $42. Anything above that is probably going to be graded, or you're going to want to get it graded, because the conditional rarity on these upper level coins, they're fairly expensive. So the Barber half was replaced by the Walking Liberty half in 1916, and that series ran until 1947. What we want to do is find the cheapest coin in good condition for our lower end of the set. So I found a 1920 in good condition for $10. But here's the kicker. If you don't care about getting the oldest coin possible for the least amount of money, you can step up your game to a 1934 Walking Liberty half. That's $11 in extremely fine condition. And really any date 1940 on up is about the same price range. So from 1934 and then 1940 through the end of the series in 1947, an extremely fine example of the Walking Liberty half dollar is $11. So spend the extra dollar if you want. Instead of getting a 1920, get a 1940 and spend about the same amount of money. You get a good coin in 1920 or extremely fine coin in 1940. And that's what I would do, because again, the Walking Liberty half dollars is just an iconic design. I'll show you the one I've got here. This is another one in good condition, and it's just a shadow of its former self. Here we go. That's pretty well worn. In fact, this one was so worn I can barely make out the date. It looks like a 1943. It's a partial date at least. So this isn't even in good condition. This has been about good condition. But the details remain the same. The Liberty from her foot all the way up her leg, through her body, up to her head, is just worn completely smooth. You can see there. And we've lost all the detail in her gown down here. Her gown is actually the flag. There's stars and stripes in that gown. We're missing all that. And on the back, the eagle is worn pretty thin. All of its feathers are gone. The detail over here is merging with the rim. The value of a coin in this condition is really no longer coin value. It's silver value. So it would be the melt value of the silver. I don't know if you can see that or not, but even the reading on the edge is gone. There's some there, a little bit, but it's worn pretty smooth all the way around. So the value of this coin is just $7, roughly, depending on current silver prices, of course. So get this one in the best condition you can afford. And like we said earlier, that's still not very much money. It's $11 for the 1940s on up. And this design was actually reused on the American Eagle, the 1-ounce silver bullion program from the U.S. Mint. That's how popular this design was. We'll put this back. Next on the list is the Franklin half, which ran from 1948 until 1963. The prices are pretty much the same right down the board for Franklin halves. $7 in circulated condition, because that's the weight of the silver value, and $10 to $12 in uncirculated condition. Of course, not counting the key dates of the series, which had lower mintages. So go to a coin shop, look over their Franklins, pick one up. $7 circulated, $10 to $12 for uncirculated. You'll have your choice of dates from 1948 to 1963. The next half in the series is the Kennedy half dollar. Now, this coin album has one hole for the Kennedy. The new ones have 2 or even 3. because type 1 really would be the 1964 silver. It's 90% silver, just like the previous halves. The 1965 through 1970 half dollars are silver clad. They're actually 40% silver. They still look like a clad coin on the rims, because they are. The face is silver and the reverse is silver, but there's a copper core in the middle of it. But they're still 40% silver. And then the third type, if you will, would be 1971 forward, which is completely clad, copper nickel. And you might even have a fourth option, which is the bicentennial design. So we'll go through the values of those. The only 90% silver Kennedy half dollar issued for regular circulation, not counting commemoratives or modern coins that are silver proofs. The only circulating 90% silver half dollar is 1964. And you can find one in the coin shops in circulated condition. That's about $10, and $15 in uncirculated grades. The second type, if you will, is the 40% silver Kennedys from 65 to 69. They're worth $3 in circulated condition. That's their silver value. You can pull one from circulation from 50 cents, and they are still out there. If you get a chance, go to the bank, pick up 50-cent rolls of coins, look through them. Chances are pretty good you're going to find a 40% silver Kennedy half, because a lot of people don't know that 65 through 70 still contain silver. But you probably won't find the 1970 half in circulation. If you do, it's because somebody broke it out of a special mint set. They weren't made for circulation. So if you come across a 1970 half dollar, save it, because A, it's silver, B, it wasn't intended for circulation, and it's a special coin anyway. Moving on to the clad, or the bicentennial. That might be one or two holes in your newer Whitman folder. Again, 50 cents, pull them from circulation. You can still find them at banks, and this was pulled right from circulation, my bicentennial half. So 50 cents, pull one from circulation, or if you want to just go to the coin shop or mail away someplace, you'll pay $3 to $5 for an uncirculated version. Okay, so wrapping up the half part of our collection. If you want to assemble a good to very good condition set of the halves, you can expect to spend about $41.50. If you're going toward the fine to uncirculated set, you'll spend about $100 on all these halves. And that wraps up our tour of the 50-cent pieces. Now the last category is the dollar coin. And things get a little weird in the dollar coin section. The 20th century dollar coins start with the Morgan dollar, which was minted from 1878 to 1921. And keeping with our 1900 theme, I picked the 1900S minted Morgan dollar. The Philadelphia, New Orleans, and San Francisco mints all struck coins in 1900. So if you find the 1900 coin and flip it over, you'll find an O or an S or no mint mark at all, because the Philadelphia Mint did not put the P on their coins. And of those three, they all run $20 in good. But of those three, I picked the San Francisco minted coin because it has the lowest mintage of the coins that were struck in 1900. So $20 in good and $40 in extremely fine. The next silver dollar in the series was the Peace Dollar. It was minted from 1921 until 1935. Most of the coins in the Peace Dollar series are common dates. So I picked the 1922, which is $22 in good and about $35 in uncirculated condition. One really interesting note about the piece dollar, and I'll put a picture up here of the piece dollar so you can see it. A lot of people who aren't familiar with the piece dollar or the time period from where the coin came from thinks that there are errors on the coin, that words are misspelled on the coin. Particularly on the front, the obverse, it says, "In God we trust," but the trust has a V in it. Well, a couple reasons or even urban legends why that is. The main accepted reason for this is the coin is a Roman type design, and the Roman design was very popular in the 1920s and 30s, part of the Art Deco movement. And the Roman language does not have a U, does not have a letter U. They used the letter V. So to honor the Roman motif of this coin, they spelled trust with a V instead of a U. But a lot of people see that and think it's an error, it's a mistake, and this coin's got to be worth a whole lot of money because it was printed wrong, is what I hear from people. No, it was minted perfectly fine. The V is supposed to be there. In fact, there is another coin that you can find in this book with the exact same problem. The Standing Liberty quarter also uses the V, and I'm not even sure you'll be able to see it on this coin. Nope. This one is so well worn, but it says right up here, "In God we trust," and the trust right there is spelled with a V as well. So moving on with our dollar collection, that brings us to the Eisenhower Dollar, right here. The Eisenhower Dollar debuted in 1971 and ran until 1978. It is the first $1 coin minted since 1935, when the previous piece dollar was discontinued. And it's the first non-silver $1 U.S. coin. So there's quite a few firsts with this series. Now, the Ike dollars were not popular at all. By the 1970s, people were just used to using dollar bills. There were no dollars in circulation since the early to mid-60s, when the Morgans and the piece dollars were all taken out of circulation because of the silver content. So people, over the course of that nearly decade-long time period, got used to not having dollar coins in their pocket. So the Ike dollar was never very popular. It only ran for 7 years. Now, you can probably still go to a bank and find these. Both of these came from a bank. I have a bank that I go to quite a bit looking for coins, and I've got a couple tellers that know me, and they save things for me, and I asked them to keep an eye out for large dollars. And they came up with these two and a couple more. So if you go to your bank and ask around, the tellers love to get these out of their drawers because they're huge, they take up a lot of space, and no one wants them. So go to a bank, ask a teller if they have any of these large dollar coins. Chances are you'll find one. But if you don't want to check the bank and you want to go find an uncirculated one, $2 or $3 at a coin shop. The coin shop would probably like to get rid of them as well. Now, there are completely silver and 40% silver Ike dollars out there. Those were minted in special sets. You can get an uncirculated silver Ike dollar for $14 and $20 for a proof. But I wouldn't take either of those coins and put them in your folder. Those come in special government packaging. If you do go buy those, keep them in the government packaging. Go to a coin shop or a bank and just try to find the Eisenhower dollar. And then the bicentennial Eisenhower dollar is the second hole here. Find a couple of nice looking examples and throw them in the book. And that brings us up to the last dollar of the 20th century, which comes in two parts. Now, part one of the Susan B. Anthony dollar starts in 1979 and runs until 1981. These were so close in size to U.S. quarters, they confused the public, and no one liked them. You can go to a bank, and because of the current or recent presidential dollar series and the Sacagawea dollars, these are becoming more and more popular in banks and in business. In fact, the city parking lots here in Battle Creek dispense these as change. So the first run of the Susan B. Anthony dollar was from 1979 to 1981. Now, the part two of this is in 1999 to sort of ramp up public interest in the forthcoming Sacagawea golden dollars and the presidential dollars soon after that. They went back and reminted the Susan B. Anthony dollars in 1999. So really, you could have a hole here for the first run, 79-81, and a hole here for 1999. But there might not be in the new folder. Might just be one hole. So take your pick. Go to the bank. You can find one pretty easily at a bank. Or if you want to get an uncirculated one, it'll cost you about $2 to $5. Personally, I would get the 1999 issue of this. So to wrap up our dollar coin collection, we're going to be getting good condition coins for the Morgan and Peace dollar, and then uncirculated coins for the Ike and Susan B. Anthony. On the lower side of the scale, you can expect to spend about $45. And if you're going for extremely fine to uncirculated on all the dollar coins, you'll spend about $80. So, you may ask yourself, if you spent all this money on this 20th century type coin set, what is my collection worth? Well, the best way to gauge the worth of a coin or collection is to see what they're selling for. You can head over to an online auction site and check out these exact same collections and gauge what people are selling them for. This one is very close to the set we just built, 24 coins, which is what our Whitman folder holds. They want $250 for it. Now, maybe, just maybe, that's close to what you would spend assembling this set. But in this set that you buy, it's already completed. You have no choice of the dates. You have no choice of the conditions. Some of these coins might be cleaned. They might be damaged. You don't know. In fact, some of these coins look polished, which is damaged. So you're going to spend $250 to get an unknown quantity and value of coins. Why take the chance on that when you can build a set for roughly the same price? A, have a whole lot of fun doing it. B, have themes inside of your book, like we had a 1900 theme running through a lot of those coins. And possibly do it cheaper. Again, here's another one. This appears to be identical to the book we're working on. Yep, this is the exact same book. And this is full, except the birth year set over here, because that's left up to the buyer to make it their own individual birth year. And this is $150. So you have to ask yourself the question, do you want to just pay $150 and get the whole set in one fell swoop? And again, risk getting cleaned coins, damaged coins, no choice of year, no choice of condition? Or do you want to actually take the time, have some fun, build your own set for this or less? I know which way I vote.